From the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery in Nashville, Tennessee, it's Gardening Inside Out, a podcast with highlights from our Saturday morning live show, answering all your gardening questions, giving you plant advice for any space in your life. Let's start the show.
Hey, y'all, it's Caroline Gant.
Hey, y'all, it's Austin Lowen.
And Tyler Blankenship.
Tyler, why so fast?
I loved it.
Because I'm standing and I just have a different energy right now.
You have a lot of energy right now. You were so here for it, so ready.
I'm sure you have a lot of energy. You know why? Because there's no energy outside at all. It's raining and awful.
And you're so mad.
You haven't been outside all day. You've been cooped up in this office, and now you're standing up. I get it. I get you.
And I've got super silly energy.
You need one of those little treadmills under your desk so you can get your steps in, too.
That's true. We can make that happen.
And we will.
We've been building
Steps
stuff all
and
day.
stands.
We've been what?
We've been building stuff all day. I mean, like, just add it to the list.
We have been building stuff all day. Listen,
You're going to
y'all,
build a treadmill for me?
Yeah, sure. Give me
Is
the
it going to be
specs, man.
cedar planks?
a Flintstone-style treadmill.
For you, Tyler, anything. The world.
Wow.
That's right.
Oh,
Take
that's
a
so
sip of your
sweet.
smart water and let's get going with this.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Let's
It's
dive
not
on
smart.
in.
It's essential. I thought it said essential. It's essentia.
Wow.
This whole time. Essentia water.
Well, now you know what brand of water you've been drinking for years.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what we've been building today because I'm excited about it.
I'm
And I
excited
think
about it.
Our listeners who come to our nursery will be excited about it. We are making the houseplant cactus aisle fancy.
Hey.
We're attaching table things to the wall.
Table things, yes. If you don't know, like we talked about last week, this is the time of year where we do random things, random projects, random pottery, statuary, dirt, all the stuff. All that stuff happens. Well, sometimes we have to build tables for all of our new plants that come in. And we've had some crap tables
We have
for
had
how
some-
long now? Since you've been here, probably like 5-6
Been
years.
slowly getting rid of them one table at a time.
Yeah, and these
over
are
the
the
last
last
4.
ones. And you know what's funny is it's your favorite aisle, the cactus aisle that you love more than anything, and it's been neglected with these god-awful metal racks.
Oh, yeah, they were terrible. What drove me crazy about them was all the negative space. And my plant trays didn't fit on them great. So, y'all, we're upping our game in the houseplant greenhouse. You're going to walk in soon and be like, wow.
And we've been
My
toying
gosh.
with it. You know what's great about being at a place like this is that we kind of just get to like say, you know, we want to do it this way, so we're going to try it. And we are. We're kind of building it on the fly, if you will. I mean, we're kind of looking at it and being like, well, we want customers to be able to reach here, reach
When
there.
do we not?
Yeah,
Good point,
everything
Tyler.
here's on the fly.
But we did convince them to buy us a lot of wood and lumber, so we've got that. We got our
We
hardware,
did.
screws, nails, all the good stuff.
We're set to
And
go.
We're just having fun, man. We're just building tables for cactus. You know, what a dream. What
It is a dream.
Especially
Dreams
on a
are
day
coming
like
true
this.
right now. And it's kind of warm in the houseplant greenhouse, warmer than it is outside. So
Oh, yeah, because it's awful outside. It's
it's
like
a good place to be
39 degrees and been raining all day
all
long.
day. At least it's not snowing.
Good point, I guess. But I almost would rather take snow because then maybe I could be home with the kids because they'd be out of school and I'd just be like, nah, I ain't coming to work today. But it's just raining. And it's like, it's cold and freezing rain and we still have to be here.
But you've had fun building tables.
That's true.
So come on.
That's true. Good point.
Had a good time.
And then now next we got to get on a treadmill for Tyler's feet below his desk that he's standing up on.
My feet demand it.
Yes, they
They
do.
need that hand-built treadmill.
Yeah, we'll make that work with wood.
That's going to be the loudiest,
Yeah.
crankiest thing
I can't wait
I've
to see
ever
it.
thought.
Well,
Yeah, but projects, it's been fun. And we got a lot more ahead of us.
That
You know
we
what?
do.
What?
We do. Speaking
You know-
of projects,
Okay.
you know, I did something yesterday. Little side gig that I do. I prune Japanese maples.
You love pruning Japanese maples.
But people are so scared of it. And I
Well-
guess that's why they asked me to do it, which is nice. Thank you for that. Like, I'll always come and prune some maples for you.
You are a pro when it comes to it.
I mean, it's
So-
not much different than really anything else or any other tree pruning. But it's like people are very scared of it. I get it. They're expensive trees. They're fancy, if you will, of the tree world.
They are the fanciest stuff. Maybe not the fanciest, but pretty far up there.
I think they're probably up there.
I need to prune my little Katsura.
We talked about that last
We
week.
did,
How
and
we can do that.
I haven't done it yet.
I know. You need to. I want to see it. You need before and after pics. I want
I
to see
kind
it.
of forgot that was going to be my Monday project in my garden. Didn't do it.
Well,
Didn't do any garden projects on Monday.
well, you did. You told me you cut back your switchgrass.
I did cut back my script. I can't say it
Ugh.
because it's gone, because it's cut out of my yard. I can't even say it anymore. But yes,
I almost did.
I cut back only a group of them because they looked ratty and bad because they're right under a gutter. Rains on them, beats them all down because I need to clean my gutters.
Don't we all?
Now everybody knows that. It's hard to keep up with stuff like that, though.
Gutters are shame sometimes.
Gutters are awful.
Truly.
Just
Yeah.
don't even worry about it.
Thank you.
I notice when the water starts spilling over top of mine, then I'm like, well, time to unclog.
It makes a water wall. It's kind of pretty.
I
There
guess.
you go.
It creates a sense of urgency that I feel like I need in my life sometimes. You know? Oh my goodness, there's a waterfall coming off of my house. Clean the gutter.
I have to clean the gutters.
Then it feels really good. Then it's like the gutter is flowing as it should be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though I let it get to that point myself.
Don't we all do? I mean, I think we all do. You know, my trick, if you're not scared of heights, is get a leaf blower and get on top of that roof and blow them leaves out. That's what I'm doing.
I feel like I'd slip right off my metal roof.
I mean, yeah, don't get on a metal roof like when it's raining or something, but like be careful. But I'm telling you, it makes quick work out of cleaning gutters, man.
Do you have allergies?
Yeah, but I don't care. I will do that than plucking leaves, wet leaves out of a gutter.
You know what's good about...
I love grabbing a wad of wet leaves.
Nope, I hate it.
It's great.
That's not great.
I go so
good.
long between cleaning my gutters that I have little saplings growing. So when
you're
I go
that
to
person.
pull it, it all comes out together.
I'm not that person.
Oh, Caroline, you've got silver maples growing in your gutters, man.
You know, I don't right now, but it did get to that point last year when I cleaned my gutters because it had been a really long time. And I was like, oh no. But when I went to pull it, it all just came up as one
about to
big
say,
unit.
So Tyler's like, okay, so when I see a little waterfall, I'm going to clean it out. Caroline's like, okay, when I got a forest growing, that's when it's time.
I want to know how long the roots
Y'all,
were. Did they go all the way down?
I love nature. That's what
That's what it
is.
is.
It's because
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
a
it is.
plant person and I just didn't want to disturb it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to let it get to that point because that was bad.
Well,
I can't
good.
fault
Now
you.
I'm highly embarrassed that all of our listeners know this about me. Great. I'm going to edit it out.
You can look at it like you're like, what, 5-something feet tall. And if you're just looking ahead all the time, you're not going to see the tree growing out of your gutters,
It's
right?
true. Well, the gutters on my back porch are pretty low. My husband is
You're really not
6'3",
giving
so-
yourself any outs here.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
No.
Yeah.
I work
Okay.
a lot.
Just clean the
How about
gutters,
that?
man.
Yeah, I'll clean my gutters because I don't want it beating down on my switchgrass again because I like how it looks in the winter.
Yeah, you have a domino effect.
But it looks so clean now that I've cut it. Y'all, my front landscaping for the wintertime looks fantastic right now.
Yeah. Well, there's something to be said for that. Like, yeah, grasses look good whenever they're up. But then whenever you cut them, you're like, oh, that looks good too.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice when it's clean. You know me. I love clean. And getting it
We
back
do
to
know
clean
that
is nice. But I will say, for me, as tidy and as clean as I am, I'm flip-flopped and opposite of you, is that I've left my switchgrass up because I still do like the way it looks in my bed. Now, it's not been beat on and such so much, so it's still kind of up and flowy and whatever. So mine's still up?
Mine's still up in certain spots. That was just the one spot I had cut it. Now I have some on the side of my house that looks fantastic. That one is still up.
Nice.
And that is north wind as well.
I was told it's too early.
It's not too early. It's just,
What
it
do you mean
depends.
it's too early?
It's
It's
all
just too
aesthetic.
early. There's no green poking at the bottom that's like giving me a hint, you know? And we
Well,
want
that's usually
we
when I
want
cut
that.
mine.
Yeah, there's nothing right now.
But you
It's still
can
dormant.
cut it now. There's not a problem with it.
Of course, but we want something there.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'm going to be looking at some dead circles for a while.
Won't be too long.
But
mean,
I do have my all gold junipers in front. So now they can shine even more. And there's not grass trying to lay on top of them.
It's a good point. And it is what, February 11th today? Like, not far, y'all. Not
It's
far
really
from
not.
things. Like, in a month, March 11th, like some things may be poking.
Ooh, I can't
Some things may be budding. I noticed some red maples yesterday, like straight up red, like Acer rubrum red maples that were budding and like even flowering a little bit. Like those buds are
What? Really?
Yeah, like swell. But you don't notice, red maple like blooms all that much,
Right. Yeah.
So, but they are clustered up is what I like to call them because the buds are really, really tight on themselves and fat. And they're starting to do their thing now. So, I mean, like literally, but we're like midway through February. So it's not going to be long.
We're right on the edge, y'all. Spring is knocking quietly.
It is.
Not knocking hard yet.
We haven't got any new stuff in though yet. I'm like kind of ready for that. I had, some people asking about pansies, people asking about snapdragons and probably like sweet peas and kind of those early season veg. That stuff's coming. It's just not here yet.
Not here yet.
And I wish to see it because if you're a plant lover, you're listening to this. There's nothing better than seeing the new stuff come in.
Oh my gosh.
Like especially those first few shipments, it just kills you.
Yeah.
Even
I
if
got
you
new
don't want to grow
houseplants
them, you're like, I still want them.
Still need them. I got new houseplants in today though. So that was exciting.
Get anything cool? Get any Valentine plants?
Well, we do have those cute little jades. So they're I'm drawing a blank on it, but it's like the African bush jade that are trained to be little hearts.
Yeah, I saw that.
So if you're listening right now and you're in the Middle Tennessee area and you're looking for a gift for your Valentine, that would be one to get.
As you should be. Valentine's Day's coming up. Like, what screams Valentine's Day gift like plants?
We also got Easter cactus. Those are cool, and we don't get many in. That was pretty exciting.
I did mention getting a sweet bay laurel for the sweet bay in your life.
Good point, Tyler.
It's a great one.
And that's the
For
gift
the
that
sweet
keeps
little
giving.
chef.
Just throw it in
Culinary.
that spaghetti, man.
Yeah.
Lil Ragu is the name of that cultivar.
And with a name like that, how could you not get that little cutie for your cutie at home?
That's right. Y'all come down and see me and get some Valentine's Day gifts.
Little red.
Get one for yourself. You deserve a Valentine's Day gift for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you do. I'm looking at you, Tyler.
Wow. Okay.
And you, Austin.
Okay.
Get y'all something too.
You know, I think I've said this before, but I can't get Valentine's Day gifts for my wife anymore. The whole plant, I
Why?
can't get plants anymore
Oh.
because that's like
You
a
just said
cop out.
gifts.
No, it's a cop. I can get gifts, not plant gifts. It's like it's too easy. I come
Yeah.
to work and I can always get her another plant. She's like, nah. So no, I
She's
can't. I
like,
can't.
"Nah."
I can't do that anymore. But I will say, for all you guys out there that are getting Valentine's Day gifts for your loved ones, I have realized that there is one thing you must do. You cannot just get a plant for your significant other. You must get a pot with that plant.
That's true.
Everybody
That's a
has
fact.
told me this. My wife tells me this. She's like, no, anytime we've ever gotten plants as gifts, my wife's like, well, we got to get a pot for it. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, the plant's enough? Certainly. And she's like, no, absolutely not. You need a pot for the plant. So there you go.
She's
There's
right.
a little pro tip for y'all.
And we have a
Listen.
ton of new, really cool small pottery
see?
that you can just drop that plant in.
Pro tip, you get the plant, then you're like, our next date is the pot selection.
Oh, you stop. Then you
Ooh.
bring them on a date to Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
That's right.
Ooh.
We have coffee cup holders in our carts.
I
So
know.
there you go. It's a coffee date right there.
Bates is a cute date spot.
It
I've seen people
absolutely
get their
is.
coffees and come over and browse, and
I've seen that.
you can just hang out and look at stuff, and
And keep on walking.
scenery.
There's so many places to go.
Oh, you drop the bait on the first date, and then you get the
That-
pot.
yeah.
I see.
Tyler,
Yeah.
you know what you're talking about over there.
Man, loving's in the air, Tyler. Valentine's Day is fast
Lovin'
approaching.
is in the air with Tyler.
senior
Wow.
love strategist with Bates Nursery.
And
That's
if you're
me.
nowhere near Bates Nursery, that's okay too.
Find
but
your local
still
garden
get a
center.
pot for the plant you buy for your loved one.
Or not, like Tyler said.
Or bait them. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll trick them first.
Yeah.
That's right. And then we'll make them come back for the pot.
Gift card.
You
gift
just
card
make some
works
plans.
if they like their solo time.
I don't know. Does gift card work for Valentine's Day? That's risky.
Some
to me.
people
Gift card
do.
works for anything. If my husband got me a gift card, I'd be so happy.
I don't think so. Really? For Valentine's Day? I can see. I
Absolutely.
mean, but I don't know.
It just
Really?
Austin, how many partners trust their other partner's decision making to find something visually that they like? That
You have to at least act like you like it though, because they put in effort for you. Like the effort given for a gift card for your significant other is so nothing. It's like here's a 20. Go get you something you like.
You give him a cute card with it that says something sweet.
I don't know. I think it's a cop out.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think there's any thought in it. Not for Valentine's Day.
All right. Well,
Not for the one you. No, I don't think so. That's just me. I'm just
just
saying
you.
it. Gift cards don't count in my book.
so everyone hears that right now. Do not get Austin a gift card for Valentine's Day. He's going to throw it right
I'm
back
talking about
at
our
you.
significant others here, not like friends. If y'all got me a gift card, I'd be like, great. Here's a Valentine's Day gift card, Kev. Go use it for something. I would love it.
I love that this has turned into a Valentine's Day discussion.
It kind of has.
here's what it is. I'm going to get you a gift card, but I get to pick it out, and I get to drag you along,
Done.
pointing out things, and then we ended up on a Zelkova.
Oh, God.
Austin's favorite tree, if
Uh-huh,
you're
yeah.
wondering. He loves that tree.
Plenty of utility in that beauty.
Uh-huh.
But there's so much stuff you can get for your Valentine out here. And you don't have to get him a houseplant. Come out and get him a tree like Tyler was just talking about.
I mean, that's a great point. What a great point. We always say this. Plants are great gifts no matter what holiday it is. But say you got that house you just moved into and you're like, you know what? So you've always wanted to have, that front yard tree. They want that weeping willow out front.
They
Gotta
want
have
that
it.
flowering ornamental cherry tree.
Gotta have it.
That is a Valentine tree right there.
Oh, a big southern magnolia
Ooh.
with flowers that smell across a mile.
And Angel Falls white pine.
There you go.
Get him a big
Random,
old
but
one.
hey. Yeah. But yes, there's options. People love plants no matter what.
Listen, I could get a plant from my partner at any time for any holiday, and I'd be happy about it.
Well, yeah, but that's you. I mean,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you could never run out of trees to give me.
It's a good point.
I don't know if he's ever got me a tree before. He hasn't.
It is a great gift, though.
It is.
Tyler, you're still standing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He
I
hasn't
got to
lowered
tell
his-
you something else because you were talking about projects here. I am starting a project at my house, and I found for sale some Western red cedar,
Some arborvitae.
some boards. Yeah.
Oh, some like
Oh.
boards.
Yeah.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't specify. Sorry.
It's okay. Hey, I love
Leave
that,
you
though.
hanging. Yeah.
We don't get to see that wood here very often. Like, we're like in the southeast. We got the pine, baby.
Yeah, I kind of
A
feel
lot
like,
of pine.
wow, hey, it's nice to have this. So one side is rough and the other side is smooth.
Ooh, what
These
are you
are
going
like
to do
red.
with
I'm
it?
assuming it's like reddish-ish.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like a brownish red,
Nice.
reddish brown. Yeah, not as
Fancy.
Yeah, it's more evenly brown than our Eastern red cedar, which has like that blonde and then like brown and red. I'm gonna make some seed starting tables
Well,
Oh.
for my greenhouse.
Wow.
that's a good idea.
Yeah, and I'm gonna cut them into slats, like strips,
Mm-hmm.
and so water can pass through them and a little bit of sunlight. And part of this is obviously because I'm rising up to Pam's challenge of doing the lupins.
Oh.
Oh. Shout out, Pam.
Yep.
Lupin seeds.
And the other thing is I'm going to try and grow some acorn squash really early this year.
Do you love acorn squash?
I do now that I learned how to make stuffed bowls out of them
Ooh.
for dinner.
For dinner.
Yeah. I know, shut y'all down.
Yeah.
That's right. Enjoy that visual.
Uh-huh.
Well, the last one that I had was so good from the grocery store. The flavor was different than the one that I got from another grocery store that shall not be named, and I couldn't resist to save the seed and try and grow some for myself.
Yay.
And then I was like, I hate squash bugs.
Mhm.
And I have a greenhouse, so I'm going to try and get them started early in containers and then tie them up in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good. I love growing squash and all of that. And I have squash bugs every year. I hate them.
Yeah.
They're annoying.
I hate them.
Austin mentioned planting with abundance
Mm-hmm.
to, so they, some people have said plant some decoys, right? So like your first ones are like a sacrifice, and then you sow some more a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
And then those become your yielders.
Mm-hmm. I will say, too, when it comes to acorn squash, it's kind of like pumpkins. It's like, you can grow, I grow acorn squash in house because my wife loves it too. And, I'll grow, say, a 4-pack is really all you need if they take off. And it's taken off, they take off, and like squash bugs do get in there, not going to lie. A lot of pests do, actually. And a lot of things happen. A lot of fungal things happen. Powdery mildew is always a thing, for sure. But by the time acorn squash is kind of finished and ready to be harvested, it's like you don't have any leaves left. It's kind of just done. But the acorn squash is like still great. Like I said, it's kind of like pumpkins. It's like when you harvest pumpkins, you're harvesting perfect orange pumpkins, but there ain't no leaves around it. Like
You
they
don't
don't
need
look
those
good at that
leaves.
point. So it's like just kind of stick with the acorn squash. It usually finishes. Like I feel like we still have acorn squash in my house right now that's just like left over. It just
Wow.
like sits forever and never goes anywhere.
Is it
Yeah.
your outdoor
Sure.
root cellar that you have?
I wish. No, I don't even need it. I just leave it in my kitchen.
Just
As long
stays
as there's
there.
no holes in it or anything, like it's fine. It just stays good. I mean, good is a relative because I think it's
Stays
yuck.
fine. I had a
No,
friend.
you don't.
Yeah, I do. I don't like acorn squash,
I love
man.
acorn squash.
No, not
You
to
don't
eat.
really like any of those squashes, though.
Not a big squash family guy.
Okay.
Not to eat anyway.
Squash family guy.
Salt, pepper, cumin, paprika, avocado oil, roast.
Did you say human paprika?
No,
Not
cumin,
human.
Caroline,
My God.
with a C. Weirdo. And face down on the baking sheet. Okay, 425 for
Okay.
about 35, 40 minutes. Then throw yourself some cherry tomatoes on the right half. Make yourself a little boat out of aluminum foil so the juices don't run off and caramelize and ruin your pan.
All those things sound fantastic except for
The acorn
the
squash.
acorn squash.
You know what?
But
Tyler's going to make some. He's
then
going to
you
bring
make
it in
some
for us
rice.
to try.
You make some rice and beans, okay? You make some rice and beans. That was me.
Oh, Tyler.
I couldn't. Sorry. You make some rice and beans and then season them all up the way you like. Put it in there. Put something on top and broil it. Like put some cheese or something on it. Broil it in the oven.
You're making me hungry.
That's right. This is you didn't ask for this, Tyler's recipe for acorn squash bowls.
All right. Well, look, if you want me to try to like acorn squash, bring me that dish. I'll give it a good taste test.
Gotta
Okay?
bring me
a lot
one
of
too.
work.
Well, if you want me to love
We're
it.
worth it.
How about this?
What
I'll
if I
just
don't?
grow you acorn squash.
Oh.
You somehow make the dish. that's
Tyler just
fantastic.
he went, Yes. He just mouthed yes and
Music
looked
to
up at
my
the ceiling.
ears.
I will grow it.
Tyler is thrilled. You got to do it. You know what else we do actually need to do?
What's that?
We probably need to get into the broadcast.
Oh, we were having such a good acorn squash talk.
We were.
That's okay.
Gotta squash
Yeah.
it.
We got
You're
to
right.
squash.
Good point, Tyler.
Exactly, Tyler.
I mean, Austin was back on the show.
I was
Austin
back this
was.
last week. It was fun.
And David was off.
Uh-huh.
And we had Adam on.
Uh-huh.
Adam just plays musical chairs
He's
on
just
the
hopping
show.
around.
Yep.
Yep.
But it was
a
good.
fun one. It was
fun
so
show.
great having you back.
Thank you.
It was
Great to
wonderful.
be back.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So take a listen. You'll hear all of those voices.
Caroline, do
worth
we
it,
have
though.
questions already this morning?
We have some questions.
We do.
Are we already ready to get
I
into
don't know
them?
if we're ready to get into them.
You
or
just
not.
wanted to know. You
I
were
just
just
wanted
wondering.
To, that's right.
Well, yeah, we do have some questions.
Good.
Good.
I'm so ready.
But let's talk about what's going on at the nursery.
Yes.
What
Okay.
is going on at the nursery? Stuff is starting to come out, it seems like.
Yeah?
I saw some yews coming out.
Use.
Getting more colorful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not colorful, but more green.
Green's
Yeah.
a color.
Yeah. Well, I guess what you mean coming out is like we have most of our stuff tucked away in the greenhouse right now, and a lot of the stuff is going to come back out into the weather. All those cold hardy things that we're not, we're getting to the point now where it's like we're probably not going to see down to 0, 10 to 0. I mean,
Hey,
maybe.
I hope not.
You never know.
Don't
I'm not going to jinx it.
It could
Yeah, don't
happen.
jinx us, man.
But for the most part, we think we're pretty well done with that. So those cold hardy things are starting to come back out. And then also things are coming in. We still got pottery coming in.
We got statuary coming in.
Statuary coming
It
in.
was supposed to be here this week, so it did not
Supposed
arrive,
to.
which I was a little bit glad that we didn't get it just yet because we still have lots of pallets of pottery to unpack.
We do. We're still getting ready for the spring season, y'all. We're building tables.
Yes.
We're just getting ready.
Putting up
you know?
walls. We did plastic all day yesterday. That was great.
So it's little things that keep us busy this time of year until the masses show up.
And I know
Like-
you're ready.
So ready. I hate it when it's so dead out here, y'all. Come out and see me. I go, we need to talk. It's been a while, okay?
Absolutely.
Let's talk plans. It's almost time. Like
Almost.
what do we talk about a lot of times when it comes to like starting seeds? I thought about that this morning. It's like we say, okay, 6 weeks until the last frost date, okay? Typically April 15th. But there's those people that like to set stuff out early, aren't there?
Yes.
It's the
Always.
second week of February. If you started them now, they'd be ready like tomatoes and peppers and stuff would be like third week of March. Now, I'm not saying to set them out then, but I'm
Whoa,
saying you
man.
already got them.
That's-
And it's a little project to have, a little
That's
seed starting
true.
project.
That's dancing with the devil, right?
It is, but hey, if you're watching that weather, you keep them in pots, it's something to do. It's something to grow. All right?
It's true.
We have had a lot of questions about seed starting and when they can do it.
All these
I
people
gotta-
are itching.
People
I
are
got to get a
itching to
heat
do
mat.
it.
I got to get a heat mat. Remind me before we leave today.
Well,
so-
luckily, we sell them here.
Yes, I understand.
Did you
that.
hear that, everyone? Come
I
visit
hear
us
there
and
are
get a
8
heat
of them
mat.
in stock. Looking at the Bates Nursery
Oh,
website.
yeah,
Wow.
you can,
Yeah.
you can, yes.
You can-
That's
you
something
can-
you can see on our website
Yes,
here at Bates
absolutely.
Nursery and Garden Center.
Absolutely. Oh, my goodness. It's going to be a glorious day. Get
It
out and
is.
about, come out to the nursery and see what's going on. Help move plants out. They'll be glad to let you out.
We're always
Sure.
happy to have people help, have more hands. But yeah, I plan on planting more stuff after work today because it's going to be so nice. But on Monday, I did put 40 plants in the ground. If you didn't listen to the
Nice.
podcast, I did talk about it in our little intro on the podcast.
Nice.
But I finally started digging holes and getting all of those plants that are sitting on my driveway in the ground finally.
And like we talked about, it's a great time to dig right now. I mean, the ground's
was.
super soft.
Yep.
And it's not like just like soaked, muddy soft. It's like nice, kind of workable, soft dirt. Let's get in it.
Let's get in it. Let's
I
start
actually
digging.
moved my Eclipse last Saturday. Like I said,
You
I
did.
I didn't put them in their permanent spot. I had some containers that I, because we're having this project in the backyard, I'm not sure exactly where everything's going to end up. So I took them out of the ground, put them in the containers, and put them in a nice shady spot.
Just staging them for later.
Staging
Yeah,
them
yeah.
for later.
Yeah.
So
Always good. Always good.
They'll be happy.
You
in
don't
their
want
new
to
home.
hastily put something in the ground and go, oops.
see, I did that
that's not
last year
right
with the
spot.
Eclipse. So I put them in the wrong spot. I thought it was going to be the right spot.
Then they burned, right?
They burned. Yeah.
Yeah, we
so-
talked about that. I'm excited about this year when it comes out to see because I planted it last year, bloomed like forever, and I'm not going to do anything fertilizer wise. I'm just going to see what it does on its own.
Okay.
I haven't pruned it. Of course, it's still fairly young, so I'm not worried about pruning it. But
Well,
we'll see.
I did
We'll
take
see.
mine back to where I could just find it because it was sad at the end of the year. But they did make it. But I've
It's
noticed
a pretty
a
tough
cou-
plant, seems like. But
I've noticed a couple of demises in the yard though, so we having to replace. some
have you played
things.
taps yet?
No,
No.
I can't play the bagpipes like I once did. So,
Can't play it as good when you start to get older. It doesn't
oh
happen the
my
same
goodness!
way.
Everybody likes to see you back, Austin.
They do. They're
Yeah.
so happy. We did get a live question in. So let's go ahead and get to our questions because we do have quite a few this morning. So Linda on YouTube is asking, first off, she says, Morning Glories, which I love. I applied pre-emergent to my flower garden last week. When should I do the second application?
Well, if it works well, you may not have to do a second application. You kind of now. The funny thing is that if you wait too long and the pre-emergent doesn't work for everything, because there's spots you're going to miss. Let's be honest. We're not going to perfect everywhere, but for the most part, it's going to do a good job. But if you see an emergent of weed, then at that point you're too late.
Yep.
So let it sit a month. We're getting to the point. I was actually talking to Ben this morning where a lot of cool season weeds are starting to jump now. It's getting to that point to where daytime temps are warming up at least enough. Nighttime temps aren't getting stupid cold. So you're going to start seeing those cool season weeds jump. And you did great by putting your pre-emergent in, and that's going to stop a lot of that. But like I said, if you do see them popping up, then you know that I'm already too late for the pre-emergent. At that point, you need a post-emergent, which is either your hands pulling them out or something like Roundup.
Well, I can tell you one thing. Some cool season weeds didn't even go dormant. I mean, I've got stuff. Wednesday, Rachel and I got out in the yard and we pulled weeds out of our vegetable beds, and it was a lot of henbit and just. There was some. I've never done this before, but because my raised beds are so nice and lush with garden and supernatural, I was able to pull out dandelion roots, the whole
thing.
root.
Oh, that's
yes.
That probably felt so
It was
good
cool.
to do.
It was really
when
cool.
That happens for me, I'm like, oh my
yes.
gosh.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that's never happened for me.
Never, not once?
Nope, never got the whole dandelion root.
Yeah, I can say that's before that point.
Yeah,
for me,
probably
either,
not.
never. Yeah,
Well, that means you got a great super soft
soil
yes. down below, so that is great.
Yes.
Yeah, dandelion's coming out all as one.
Can
So
you imagine that this pre-emergent she's talking about is preen?
probably or snapshot. There's a few
Yeah.
different,
Okay.
pre-emergents.
Yeah, with preen, don't make it look like you've got yellow all over the garden. Follow the little thing on the bottle that has.
You don't
this
want to overdo
pattern.
it.
No, you don't. Always follow the directions. Hey, we got a comment on YouTube from a mystery person that says it's a much better look without the old guy on.
Oh gosh!
Wow.
Is that one of David's friends?
It's David.
I was like, who would say that? David,
No,
good morning.
That is not true at all. Good
Not
morning,
at all.
David.
Yes.
Glad you're out there watching us.
Yes,
Which
Yes.
means we cannot mess up.
Oh,
That's right.
Lord.
We cannot.
Serious talk
Pressure.
now.
I know,
Pressure.
the pressure is on, everybody. All right, someone is asking about pansies. We kind of hit on this a little bit, just talking about people being ready to put stuff in the ground, but they say, is now a good time to plant pansies, and do you all have any? We don't have any.
No, you're right.
I mean, if we had some, sure.
You could
yeah,
do
that'd
it,
be
yeah.
good.
They're probably
But,
going to come back this week. I mean, as nice and warm it's been, you're probably going to start to see from last
Oh
year.
yeah, well, it's going to be cool this week, but I bet we'll see some at least some viola blooms pretty soon. I would imagine.
Yeah, you're right, Josh. If you were to keep them through the whole year, they're going to start releafing and then start reflowering this spring. It's always the thing about pansies. It's like, do we get our color in now and have it until roughly mid-April, and then you're like, okay, I want to get my, for the rest of the season annuals in. I want that lantana, those pentas, those tunias, all those good things that we really want in the spring. So it's like, do we want that? Do you want to spend some money now on pansies just to have them for like a month and a half? I don't know. For me,
It is pretty. They're not
it is pretty. And
expensive.
like Adam said, if you planted them now, you'd be great. Like, you're set up for a great, beautiful spring. But then we got to switch them out for the other things.
Yep.
So that's up to
Yep.
you.
Yeah,
But, I mean,
up to you if you can find them.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have them right now, but we always do get a early stage of
little
pansies, though.
And Julie has talked about that,
Yes.
but we don't know when because she bases it off the weather.
Well,
Right?
usually though, by the first week of March, first full week of March, we'll have our first bout of cool season vegetables.
Yep.
A few snapdragons, a few
Yeah.
pansies, a few violas. So it's coming soon. It's don't rush it.
It'll be here before we
time
know it.
passes quickly enough.
Do some other garden projects. We talked about that a lot on last week's broadcast. What we're all doing in our garden beds, what you can be doing to get ready. So there's things to be done.
Clean up
Oh yeah, well, that's, like I said,
I
like I
used to hear
said,
that song all the time.
that's what we did Wednesday, and there's still plenty of things to do. We just went out for a couple hours, and that's the way I like to do it. I don't like to rush myself or do it all at once. Just go out there and
Enjoy
just makes
it.
it more enjoyable.
Yeah.
So.
It does when you're not like, I have to get it all done now. All right, stuff is starting to bloom a little bit. I know I have some stuff in my yard. I have daffodils blooming and then a witch hazel. So somebody says, Caroline, Austin said your witch hazel is blooming and I'm thinking about one. Do you have a photo? Yes, we do have a photo. Tyler, there. Oh, he was so fast. So there's my witch hazel, which I was shocked. You can see it's still holding its old leaves from last year. But if you look, you can see it's pretty much in full bloom. I just happened to walk over because I was like, I wonder if the buds are starting to open. And then I was like, well, I would have missed that.
Which variety is this?
I think that's
Arnold's
just,
Promise, or is
I
it?
think
Or
it's
is
just
it
the American witch hazel.
Okay, so
yeah.
Okay.
Which hazel is that? What a joke. Anyway,
I'm so proud.
it was a bad one. But hey, I did talk to that
great
guest
one.
the other day. I can't remember who it was exactly, her name, but I do remember her face, and she remembered me, and she talked about this spot in her house area in between two windows that was this nice kind of open area for a potential witch hazel. And I did bring yours up that was in bloom. So thank you for bringing that up. And yeah, I think that's a good spot for your witch hazel. And we still got a few.
Yeah, we do. We do have a few.
They're
And
blooming here.
I love my witch hazel. Do you have one, Adam? You
Not
have
yet.
one. You have two.
Not
You have
yet.
Diane.
I have witch hazel Diane. It gets huge, folks.
Yeah,
Mine
they
does.
do.
I keep it.
Yeah,
We have to keep it in bounds.
Yeah, well, the vernal witch hazel, which is what she has, the native one, what Caroline has, gets even bigger.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it's like a small tree.
Oh,
There it is. It was Carol. Carol that came out. Carol,
Carol.
Caps.
There we go.
Carol.
In all
Shout out
caps.
to
Great
Carol.
to see you.
I planted 2 little dwarf panicle hydrangeas in front of my witch hazel
All right.
last Monday.
you
So
go.
I think that's going to be super cute. And I think I spaced it well.
my oxalis
We'll see.
loves it underneath witch hazel. It's a gorgeous spot that we've got.
What color do you have? Is it the purple or is it the
Green
just
ones.
green? The green ones?
Green
Yeah.
ones. Yes.
Yes,
have
of course
purple.
it's the green ones. What are you talking about, Caroline?
Purple. Okay.
Hey, I see Joyce's comment up there. Do they usually keep the old leaves?
Mine does. Every year.
Mine is too.
I
Yes.
didn't even see that comment yet. Tyler, you're flying through.
Tyler is flying.
Sorry, they pop up really fast.
And I can't read without my glasses on.
Oh, gosh. But yes, Joyce, a lot of times witch hazel does keep their leaves until they want to re-leaf in the spring, and then they'll shed those old ones. There's a lot of plants to do that. There's a lot of like red oaks that do that.
Beeches.
Beech trees do it like crazy. So, yeah.
Absolutely glorious color for the fall last year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Stunning.
Yeah, it's much better, much more reliable fall color just because it's a native,
Yeah.
So
It's great. Yeah, I touched the leaves because I was like, well, maybe they'll fall off and then I can see the blooms. And they're hanging
stuck.
on.
They stick on
I would
there.
have had to like pull them all off. So I did not do that. We did get a lot of questions about transplanting things. So let's start to get into that. Is now a good time to transplant ornamental grasses? I did that on Monday.
See? So she's the expert. So yes, it's a great time to transplant. She's the transplanting queen.
I am. I transplanted 2 rain dance big blue stems on Monday.
What we always talk about, y'all, is just we want to do this during dormancy as much as we can. Okay? It was still dormant. We're still plenty dormant. Grasses especially are still dormant.
And now is great because the ground, like you
It's
said
soft.
earlier, is soft. It's, you can now you have to be a little careful. You want to make sure that you get as big a root ball as you can handle, because you want as much of that root system as possible. And what I like to tell folks is go ahead and have that hole ready, the other hole ready, and just take, don't leave it out of the ground for as little as possible.
Exactly.
So,
But splitting grasses is easy. Just
Oh,
right
yeah.
down the middle and
Yeah.
move on, right?
Splitting them is easy.
Yeah.
Digging them is not
No,
easy.
they-
No.
Okay.
No,
Especially
luckily-
switchgrass.
These weren't very well established. I planted
Okay.
them last year, and I planted them in too much shade. And I knew it when I planted it. I was like, I'm just going to see, and they were not happy. So I had to move them to a spot in full sun. I have thought about digging up my switchgrass and just splitting them and replanting them because they are getting big, but
It's
that's going to be a... It's
a
also
chore.
planted in an area that was filled with a lot of gravel.
Yeah.
So they might just be there forever and just keep on
they
getting
cling
bigger.
on to everything. Like Adam said, it is great practice to get as much root ball as you can. Now, when it comes with a switchgrass, you have an immense root system down below. So if you start digging at it and you start cutting and you feel like your root ball is big enough, don't be scared to like sever some of those roots. You're going to have to.
Yeah.
Like those roots are extensive. So cutting through some roots is not going to hurt that plant. Okay, so get it up, and then like Josh or Caroline said, use that Sawzall or regular saw, whatever, saw it up. Get 4 or 6 new grasses out of that thing.
Yep.
Real fast, I will say Ben Trest was on the show last week, dug up a bunch of switchgrass last year from
His kid's school, yeah.
Yeah, his kid's school. And he brought some to me, and he brought a lot home as well. And both of us had some that we just set on the ground. It rooted in, and
Yes.
it's doing great. Gardening Inside Out is brought to you by Earth Mix Garden Products, creating regionally sourced high-quality soil blends and amendments for the sustainable-minded gardener. Fall and winter are great times to plant in the Southeast, and Earth Mix can help you with Landscape Soil Conditioner. Mix Landscape with your native soil to feed all winter long. Added mycorrhizal fungi help your plants get established faster and increase hardiness through the year ahead. Visit earthmix.net for more information and retailers near you. Remember, success begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix Garden Products.
You know what? Before we move on, Adam just nailed it on the head. We got to say this every year. It's a succession thing every year. Okay, so if you haven't started it yet, it is a great practice to do it. You're starting your raised bed, you're starting your garden plot in the ground, whatever it is. But every year you add that stuff. So the stuff from the previous year and the stuff from the previous year is still breaking down and making all. I just recently read this fungus book to my daughter. So it's a really cool book. It's a kid's book. She's
Thanks,
like 7.
Dad.
It was great. It's like a Fungus Among Us book or whatever.
There you go.
And it's talking about all the fungi in the world and everything. And it's talking about soil and how the leaves break down and the wood breaks down and all this good stuff. Like, we've already done that for you pretty much, got it started to break down. And then you keep adding that every year. Mm-hmm. And then you're getting this network of fungus that just like all works together with plants. It's this whole thing. It's a magical thing. It's amazing what a children's book can even tell you sometimes.
Mm-hmm. You learn a lot.
All of that down below helps what's up top.
Yes, well that's true. So in all the Earth Mix products, they are inoculated with endo and ectomycorrhizae.
Yes.
And humic acid. So
And it just gets the ball rolling a little bit
yeah.
quicker on those things breaking down and adding to what you want to grow.
Yep.
Hey,
Not to mention an amendment called mushroom compost.
That
Oh
too.
my
That's right.
goodness gracious!
That
Yep.
part.
Yep.
Austin,
Yes, Tyler.
you're a fun guy in the world.
Thanks, man.
Good
Thanks,
one.
Tyler.
Hey, Tyler Cam was huge that time.
That was. He had a big joke
He
for
did.
that one.
Big joke for my big head. All right, here we go. Like I said, the goat.
Oh, hey, the goat's back.
The goat is.
He wandered off out of the other pasture for a while, but the goats are back. Okay, and you know what? Let's talk about a big subject. Okay, and this is ground covers. Not the most exciting subject on the planet, but it's a big topic.
one.
A lot of people love ground covers, and there are no shortage of ground cover options out there. But for succulents, grasses, spreading ground covers, aggressive ground covers, whatever. What you want to do is cover the ground, so you obviously cover the ground. You don't see that, and then you kind of choke out weeds a little bit, which is very, very helpful in a garden, especially in Middle Tennessee. Okay, so what is one of our favorite ground covers that there is? Juniper. There's a lot of ground cover junipers, okay? And they're great. They're evergreen. They're extremely drought resistant. Some native. Some you can live on rocks. I mean, this porous soils you can imagine. Very, very good plants for coverage, okay? And there's multiple options. There's the blue Pacific juniper. There's blue rug junipers. There's blue chip. There's golden Pacific. There's procumbens nana. You don't even know those words. But all of those junipers live on the ground, and they do very well here. Mostly on the blue scale, some silvery, some blurple. Shout out Ben, who likes to say blurple, bluish, purple is kind of what they look like. But you know what? I'm talking about the goat today. Caroline grows the goat.
I do.
You know. Is your goat growing?
I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, it is growing, and it looks great. It's showing off right now.
What she's talking about is the all gold juniper.
I love
Okay? This is a specific variety that Isley Nursery out in Oregon grows. It is fantastic. It usually comes in a 1 gallon, sometimes a 3. They are spready, sprawly fellas. I got them at the house. They're fantastic, okay? Golden, even through the wintertime months. A lot of the golden plants, yes, like dull a little over the wintertime. This one is not that one, okay? I planted 3 little 1 gallons in a tight little triangle. They grew together as I knew they would, and they filled this way. Probably in a close to, I would say, 8 foot wide, like from 3 in the middle, gotten out to like 8 feet wide. That's how much they grew over the past 2 or 3 seasons, okay?
Oh, man.
I've never put a trim to them ever, except for this year. And Tyler, show them the first picture, okay? Let's just show you what the all gold looks like. Now, I'm going to preface this. This was about 2 months ago. You can even see my cute little ginkgo holding on to those yellow leaves. This was when they were dropping. But look below that. That's the all gold. That's that space filler thing that it does. And there are no weeds in that, y'all. Not any. There's plenty of weeds in the bed. Don't start looking. But right in the middle of that juniper, you don't see any, okay? It just chokes out everything. It's great for that spot. But what do you see? Starting to get out into the grass a little bit. On the right side, starting to get in my driveway a little bit. On the back side, I got a weeping Japanese maple. It's starting to want to climb that maple. Like, it's gotten that big, okay? So people ask me all the time, like, juniper's weird. Like, it's one of those things that you don't really think about pruning all that. It's not like a boxwood. It's not like a holly where you can just really see how to prune it. It's a little bit trickier. But I'll show you. This is what I did, Tyler. I went and I formaled that thing up. Y'all know me. I got to get it back in check. Show
You're
them.
so
Oh,
formal,
sorry.
Austin.
Show them, Tyler.
Hold on.
I created a little juniper cake.
go.
Look, it's like a little, I don't know.
loaf. Little
It's a
baby
cake.
boxwood.
Yeah, I want to put that in the oven. But look, we just squared it up, all on the edges. I cleaned up all the weeds. The ginkgo's finally lost its leaves. You see that up front. The weeping maple in the back lost its leaves. It's all dormant. And then look, all the juniper is tidied up. Now, I did take that gold out of it by pruning it. It's okay. It is going to explode this spring, and it's going to fill that space exactly how I wanted to. The all gold juniper, people, as a ground cover, it is the GOAT. Grow it. Thank you.
There you
It
go.
really is. You talked
Yeah.
me into it because you
Yeah.
already had it in the ground and you talked about it all the time. And I needed I wanted an evergreen ground cover. So I was like, I'll just bite the bullet and do it. And I'm so glad I did.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
Mine look great right now. I don't have to prune mine just yet. I'm sure one day I will, though.
One day.
One day
Yeah.
it will happen.
And look, there's another variety called Golden Pacific juniper, which is a nice juniper, don't get me wrong, but
Yep.
it is not as good as the all gold. I'm telling you, that cultivar is superior when it comes to junipers.
We have a juniper in this room.
Yes, we do.
We will talk about it during the What's in Room segment, but that might be the next juniper I am adding to my garden bed.
I already got
That's
it.
cool.
Do you really? Does yours look that colorful right now? Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to get some.
exquisite.
I could see she's jealous.
I need some. I'm going to do it. I'm going to
Okay.
get some. All right. So we got an email in about something that we touched on last week. This comes from Jesse.
Jesse.
On the show today, which was last Saturday, you were talking about pawpaws. I just planted 3 young pawpaws last fall. I probably would have gotten just one, but needed more to cross-pollinate. I like the look of them in the understory, but in full sun, they look kind of funny. Stay with me. Bunch of big leaves, too dense. Not sure why it looks so funny, but it does. Earlier in the show, you were talking about Frankenstein blueberries, multiple shrubs planted in the same hole. That's what we talked about on the podcast. Austin talked about putting multiple or different types in one hole so you have one shrub that cross-pollinates itself, basically. And now I'm wondering if I could do that with my pawpaws. Instead of 3 funny-looking trees, I'd have one funny-looking tree with 3 stems.
Isn't that how they grow in nature? They kind of colonize.
They do. So I
yeah.
have them in my woods, and I'll have little stands of them where they're planted very, very close together.
That's because where the fruit falls and it lays right there on the ground, or a
So this
raccoon
listener-
plants a planet for you.
Yeah.
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 This listener is wondering if that would work, if she could just move all of those into one hole, basically, and if it will cross-pollinate.
Yes, they will. It'll certainly work. What you might have to do is, the pawpaws are small trees, okay, as they grow. So, I mean,
Right.
they will get bigger and older and all that. So, when you do plant them all together like that, some pruning might have to be achieved over the wintertime just to stop a lot of like stem growth on the interior of the plant. We really want good airflow. Good airflow really helps with pollination like crazy. It also helps with disease pressure,
Yep.
minimalizing that. So, you might have to do a little bit of pruning that
Well,
way.
What I could see it looking like is like a 3 or 4 trunk crepe myrtle.
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's what it would look like.
Yeah, it'll be a clump or a multi-stem
Yeah.
type plant.
So
Yeah.
just take them side by side and put them right in the same hole.
Literally,
Sure.
you can
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, that's how you think about in the woods all the time, y'all. There's a 50-foot oak tree right next to a 70-foot maple that are 6 foot from each other. As long as there's available nutrient down below, these plants aren't going to like compete with each other. That's a very common word people use, but it's like they're not necessarily like they are, I guess, technically competing for like sunlight and nutrients, but our soil, y'all, is impeccable, and the amount of soil they have for the roots to establish and go in any different direction you could imagine.
Well, particularly with pawpaws in nature grow, like we were saying, in these low areas where a lot of the organic matter kind of settles in
Yes.
these places. So yeah, as long as you've got good, rich soil for them to grow in, they'll be great.
Sounds like they're heavy feeders in the landscape, though. So you,
They can be, but I think
Okay.
I think they can be kind of adaptable. I
Okay.
mean, they're a native, so they're gonna be able to, wide range of areas. But that's generally where you
Find them. Yeah, that's where they want to be in nature if they can help it. Yeah. It's one of those only fruit trees that really likes kind of wet feet. Like it's okay with wet feet. There's not a ton that are like that. So, If you got that site, it's fine too. And they're plenty shade tolerant. You got
They're
the massive
very
leaf.
shade tolerant.
So they
I
got
have them like in my woods, growing right on my creek between big rocks, and they're doing
Perfect.
fine.
Yeah, I mean, they've evolved to have this massive leaf on them, so they expand their
By her
surface area as
creek.
much as possible.
Man, she's got a creek.
She's got a
I do
creek.
have a creek.
Okay.
I do. I know. I'm a little bit spoiled.
And she's jealous of my
I will
ground
say
cover?
getting
Come
down
on.
to that creek can be tricky, and
Okay.
I've fallen down that hill
Oh, my.
multiple times.
No.
So it's not like I walk out of my house and I see this beautiful little stream.
Have you got
I have to almost
rhododendrons
lose
planted
my
on the
life
bank?
to get
Have
there.
you got rhododendrons?
No, there's no rhododendrons, and it's not a big creek.
Oh.
I'd say it's more of a stream, but it does run year round. And I
Okay.
found a couple box turtles hanging out in there, which is pretty cute. All right, we got a live question in from Joyce.
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 Someone in this room might be upset by this question.
Oh, Joyce.
Joyce says, I'm thinking of adding a smoke bush. Why? What's your favorite variety? I love them. I love how they look. I love
Yes.
how they look when they're blooming. I mean, they look
too.
like it's smoke, hence the name smoke
Yep.
bush.
Well, it really should be called smoke tree.
Yes.
Yes.
Because,
Because
they get yes,
Massive.
very big. Well, the native one, what is it? Cotinus, was it Americanus or whatever it is?
Yeah, it's that.
Is green,
Yeah.
green leaves, but that one's really cool.
It does the best.
You know, royal purple it's just such a.
That
It's been
one's
around
pretty.
a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
it just has done really well. Over
They
the
don't
years.
age real well.
Well,
I
I think what happens is I think you really have to be, and I think this is probably why Austin doesn't like them as much. You really have to be on them. Like you really have
Yeah.
to
Right.
like shape them, prune them like every year.
So
Yes.
like your backdoor neighbor that doesn't take care of his smoke
Yes,
bush. Okay.
exactly.
all right.
It's exactly what happened. You're right.
Yeah.
They get ratty. So, I mean, the site selection is absolutely crucial if you don't want to do any pruning. If you want to set it and forget it type of tree, then site selection.
Yeah, you got to have a big spot.
Yes.
10 years ago, that hedge was absolutely amazing.
Yep.
Beautiful privacy in the summertime. In the spring, it was just amazing. But now, not so much.
Well,
Yeah.
it needs
I
a
know-
little TLC.
David has one that he says Renee is very good at staying on top
Yeah,
of.
She keeps it hedged,
Yeah.
I think, kind of
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
She keeps it real tight.
Mhm,
Yeah.
real tight.
Well, and that's how you're going to get the most color.
Yeah.
Really, is and be able to see that color. 'Cause when they get big, all that foliage is up above you, so it's
Yeah.
not as easy to
And
see.
and the flowers, the smoke flowers are all
Yeah.
sporadic. Like if you
Yeah.
keep that tight, you get this really tight smoke.
That's beautiful.
That's what we want.
Absolutely
Tight
gorgeous.
smoke.
Yeah.
I have one I haven't planted yet because I'm kind of scared.
You
'Cause
should
I know
be. You should be frightened.
you should be terrified to plant that. Maybe I'll plant it today. I don't know. All right, let's get back to some of our transplanting questions.
Okay.
We're going to talk lilac now. When is a good time to move a lilac bush?
Well, that's a little trickier
Mm-hmm.
because of when they bloom. They bloom so early. I would say it's still probably okay right now. They're probably still mostly dormant. It depends on how tight their buds are, which I've seen a few, and they're still pretty
They're still
tight.
tight,
So
yeah.
you could transplant it now.
Uh-huh.
Just using the same advice that we gave earlier. And depending on the lilac, it's one of those plants I love, but it's one of those carryovers from 100 years ago when it was almost the only flowering plant that anybody planted around here, and it's just a little too hot for them here. They just
is.
the summertime just really just now. I mean, they're tough. They'll come right back.
Oh yeah, yeah. They live, and when we transplant this time of year, like with a lilac, like Adam says, like their buds are set for their bloom this spring, and there's a lot of plants that are like that. So if we do transplant now, if they go through a period of like stress, over the winter, we may not get that just awesome flower show that you really, really want because of the stress of moving it. But now's still the time to move it. Okay, even if we don't get that flower show, we need it in its new home. So
Don't
it starts to
dawdle.
kinda,
Don't dawdle.
yeah.
No
Let's go ahead and get that
dawdling.
done.
No
Don't you do it.
procrastination.
How about, is it too late to transplant a hydrangea?
No.
Nope.
We got to get this question at least every other
Yeah,
week.
that's
Oh
fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's hydrangea. I mean, it's
I planted one on Monday. I don't know what kind it was. It was a mystery one that I got here
Okay.
2 years
Well, that's
ago.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
we don't
I
have to
moved
worry
it.
about hydrangea at all. I mean, those are summer blooming plants. Like they're not setting bud yet for their flowers. Like you're fine. Get those things moved.
All right. How about this? Mm-hmm. I need a smallish plant in a damp, full sun area to help with erosion.
Oh, what a great question.
Spirea. Dwarf
Spirea would do well. Switchgrass, definitely.
Yes.
For erosion control is
I mean,
very
we talked about
commonly
that
used.
when we talked about transplanting them or just digging them up to separate
Their
them.
roots are insane.
Yeah.
If you need to hold on to some earth, switchgrass is certainly the one for you. Itea and Sweetspire, now not the greatest for erosion because their roots are somewhat surface, but they do make a stand as well, and they live in a wet spot just fine with multi-season interest. As a native plant, Itea is something that people should be growing. Really good one. Hey, Amsonia, shout out to Bridge. That's a great
that
fall
one would
blooming.
be great. Yeah.
That's a perennial. I mean, it drops dormant over the winter, but fall color is fantastic. Blue blooms in the spring, and it handles wet just fine.
Yeah, it's a stunning one. I see them across the road from us. There's a rain garden bed, and they have a ton of Amsonia
Yeah, they used them
in there.
in there. And they've done really well.
Yeah, they look, they're so good. They're so pretty in the spring when they're flowering, like you said, and in the fall, that color, it's like a rainbow. I've brought it on the show before to feature it in the fall. It's something else.
It's really
I'll
great.
tell you what.
And shout out Tyler over there to your monarch butterflies. The old swamp milkweed would do fine in that spot.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yep. Sure would, buddy.
So you could use that. There's a lot of options.
Do you
Those
think,
are just a few.
Do you think swamp milkweed does good in wet spots?
Yeah. Hence the name.
I don't know.
Swamp.
Yeah. Swamp milkweed.
Uh-huh.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, you already talked about spirea in that a little bit, so let's move to that question.
Okay.
When, if ever, should spirea be pruned? And that comes from Miriam, friend of
Hey,
the show. Good
Miriam.
morning, Miriam.
Well, most spirea will, a lot of the older varieties bloom on last year's growth because they're one of the first things to bloom. They bloom kind of when forsythia blooms. Those white ones like
Those big white ones,
Van
yeah.
Hootie and all
Yeah.
that. But even still, if you don't mind losing, most of your blooms, you can prune them right now just fine. It's not going to hurt them. But generally, if you want to see the blooms this year, then you would prune right after they're done with that first heavy bloom. A lot of the new ones, like
Whack them when you get that.
yeah, they can take they're one of the plants that you can really prune them hard if you need to.
Oh, yeah. And, like you just said, the new ones, some of those, like they have, hence the name, like double play, like a lot of those, because if you let them bloom like they're going to do in the early spring, like Adam said, let them be beautiful, and then give them a halfway cutback, they reflush and rebloom. That's that double play they're talking about. Their new varieties now are excellent at reblooming as long as you cut. If you don't cut them, they're not going to rebloom all that great.
Yeah.
So do that.
You want to encourage that new growth because that's what they're going to set buds. So
And they're
Great
beautiful when you cut
question,
them back and you get a reflush in the summer of like different colored leaves atop of green ones. And then you get a bloom atop of that. Like spirea is a good plant, y'all. Like you need easy, set it and forget it type of plant. Like spirea is probably for you.
Yep.
Especially something that doesn't get just stupid big, at least a lot of the newer cultivars.
Right.
It stays little and compact. Got some live questions. One from Linda. When is a good time to trim my lilac? It's about 7 years old.
Okay.
I'd say not now.
Not now. Nope. Well, like we just talked about, all those buds are set for spring. So let's let them bloom this spring. Let's enjoy that lilac. Let's go out and smell it. Because that's fantastic.
Yes.
And then when it doesn't smell no more, cut it in half.
Cut it in half.
I mean, if it's 7
That's
foot.
the perfect way to describe that. When
It really
doesn't
is, though.
smell
You
no
give
more,
it a great
in
cut,
half.
and it flushes nicely,
back out.
nice and tight. And then it gives you a bunch more sticks to play with to where next winter it sets those buds on all of those sticks, not just a few of them. And then you got an amazing show. And then you can just be smelling for 2-3
Forever.
weeks. Forever.
Mine is covered in buds right now. I can't wait until they start to partially open.
They will.
They don't usually open all the way. And then we have one more live question from YouTube from Carol. I moved my midnight marble hibiscus 2 weeks ago. Will it do well and flower this year?
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yes,
yeah.
it will.
Yeah, should
For the
be
most
good.
part, they do fine.
What color are the blooms, Carol?
Midnight Marvel's typically dark
Dark?
purple leaves with a
With red-
bright red bloom.
Yeah.
You know all about those.
I grow that one actually at the house, yeah. Carol, what a beautiful plant. I love hibiscus. I want to get behind it, but the amount of bugs that get on hibiscus
Yeah.
is so annoying to me
It
that
is.
I'm like getting rid of mine. Carol, I'm sorry. I'm just going to look at your pictures. You do great.
It's mainly Japanese beetle, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
they're horrible, but also sawfly larvae. You know the
That's
sawfly
true.
that gets on dogwoods and
Yes,
stuff?
and-
they love it.
And they get on, knockouts.
Oh, yeah.
Sawfly
Definitely.
larvae.
Yeah, the rosefly. Yeah, the sawfly larvae. There's a bunch of different sawflies out there, but they love hibiscus. It's so annoying.
Additional support for Gardening Inside Out is brought to you by Bates Nursery and Garden Center, a third-generation nursery located in Nashville, Tennessee, and 20-time recipient for Nashville's Best Garden Center, offering the widest selection of new arrivals for fall, like specimen conifers, Japanese maples, and pansies in nearly every color. Open year-round, minutes from the heart of Nashville in beautiful Whites Creek, Tennessee. Browse their selection online anytime at batesnursery.com. Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
Go ahead and dive into some more questions. All right, Pam asked a question on Facebook. I
Hey,
bought
Pam.
2 Ito peonies from you recently. My tidy gardener helped me plant them. I'm new to Ito. Are they easy to propagate?
Propagate.
They're kind of woody.
Yeah.
So I would imagine if you take steps like sterile potting medium, rooting hormone. I mean, you
One.
know,
They're
so expensive,
Hey, I know
John.
Pam, and I know Pam ain't just willy-nilly buying stuff. She
Okay.
loves a good deal on some cheap plants, and she, like we talked about, this was almost 4 weeks ago. Pam's landscaped most of her yard with our buck a gallon
Yeah.
stuff over the years.
That's okay.
She knows how to buy that stuff that they look a little rough, but she's gonna save her money, and it's gonna be fine.
That's how I am, Pam.
But yeah, you're right. If we're gonna do Ito peony divisions, it's probably like find your eyes that are
Yeah.
on the the buds that poke from the bottom, and try your best to carefully separate some of those eyes. Getting some root with each one of those little root divisions, and then setting them will be your best bet on that. But Itos, they kind of take a minute to get multiple eyes. It's like,
Yeah.
they'll send like 2 or 3 the first season, maybe. The next season, maybe 5. And it's kind of slow.
I started from, I have a couple different Itos, but one I started from just a bare root peony that we got here at the nursery, and it was very affordable for one. It was like $20. It didn't come up the first year. I thought it was just dead. Second year, just 1.
I was about to say, it'll have like one eye that'll
Third
crack.
year, like 2.
Yeah.
So that one is very slow going. And that, just kind of
Patience.
proved how much
Patience.
patience you have to have.
Yep.
Okay, someone is so ready to get their houseplants out of their house. They are asking, when can I start moving houseplants outside again? Soon. It's been so warm out. No, unless you're one of those people who wants to just be moving your plants in and out, which I would say isn't necessarily great for the health of your houseplants. I usually wait until about Mother's Day when I put my warm weather vegetables in ground. That's when I'll start moving my houseplants out. So you still got a while. I know.
About to say, Caroline, it's so far away.
It's so
Mother's
far
Day,
away.
my God.
I know.
it's
These
really,
people need to get them out.
But
It's really-
listen,
it's
we
really
get
not.
those
It's
late
really
freezes, we
Yeah.
get late frost, and it's going to happen. So if you start moving them out now, you're going to be moving them back in again. But, this time of year, you can just take time cleaning your plants. I talked about that last week. Talk to your plants. Be like, soon
Yes.
you'll be outside.
yeah,
It'll be
definitely
time.
reassure your plants.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay.
You'll be in the sunshine soon enough. Okay, and Gina asked a question on our YouTube. What should I do for my Natchez crepe myrtles that have dark places on the trunks that I assume are from aphids? Should I trim the dark places off or spray them with dormant oil or ...
You physically
The
clean
matches,
first,
yes.
y'all. I know it's annoying. It's not a fun practice to do. But yeah, all that black sooty mold that's left over on the stems, to get that completely off, like you need to wash it off.
Just
Get you an
a little
old
Scotch
wash rag.
or a Scotch Brite pad.
Exactly.
Yeah, it works
Anything that's got
perfect.
some friction to it to
Yeah.
get some water on there. I
Scrubbing.
usually say
Get to
like
scrubbing.
a low pressure pressure washer can be helpful as long as you're not cutting into the stems. Like getting it off. I'm telling you, the physical just removal of it is the way to go to really get rid of. Now, after that, you can spray with the dormant oil to really coat the stems to help with any overwintering eggs that may happen on the plant. But really, a physical removal is the way you need to go about it. And any pruning you want to do, definitely it's this
Do it
time of year to do it.
Matches, my goodness, it'll grow back.
Oh, God, yeah. You can go
It'll
6 foot in a
grow back
season.
this year.
Yeah, those are big. Those are cool. Hey, Joyce asks, how soon for Isley?
It's the end of this month. I got
so
confirmation.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
End of
So-
February, that starts to roll.
Very soon, Joyce. Don't worry. We'll let you know. You will know when they're getting here. Okay. What can I do about Japanese beetles? We already talked about this a little bit, but this viewer is asking every year they eat my roses.
Well, the Beatles
Yeah,
won.
they
They
do.
won a
Same
Grammy
girl.
again this year.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Ringo's got a new album coming out too, country album.
Going to be at the.
But
at
if
the
you
Ryman.
wanted to destroy them, how would you do it? Because those little,
Call the Rolling Stones.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when it comes to roses and Japanese beetles, you have to spray early and often.
Yep.
I'm telling you, you have to. And I hate to spray more than anybody. Like, really, I hate it. But
No.
If you want roses in Middle Tennessee and you don't want Japanese beetles eating them, you got to spray.
They're very cyclic too. Folks.
Yeah. So what I found, at least the only roses I have, well, Rachel has some other rose that she likes, but the only roses I planted are knockouts. The good thing about knockouts and even drift roses is even if you do get damage, like you were saying, Josh, it's cyclical, and those shrubs will flush right back out and bloom again. And it's, I just kind of just like with the sawfly larvae, I just let it happen, prune out any really bad spots, and just let them flush back out.
The pheromone-based bags will work, but they will need to put them away from.
Yes, you want to draw them away from your plants. You don't want to draw them towards your plants.
Hang them on the mailbox because there's never anything else.
Or your neighbor's mailbox.
The neighbor's mailbox is even
might
better.
be better. Yeah.
Yeah, I battle that every year. That's why I keep trying to dig up my cannas, even though I can't kill them. But the Japanese beetles love them.
Lilies.
They'll start to bloom, and then they just go to town on them. All right, Mikey on YouTube is asking, I have a variegated pink lemon tree. It will flower, but the flowers will fall off and never produces fruit. If it's still in its nursery pot, should I repot it? So this is pretty typical of young citrus trees. And I have this question a lot. So while it could be a watering issue, I'd say it's more than likely it's just a young tree. They will flower, they'll lose their flowers. A couple years later, or maybe the next year, they'll start to produce what looks like tiny little fruits, and it is, but those won't finish. Those will also start to fall off. I would say about year 5 of having this plant is when you're going to really start getting a lot of fruit on that. So I would say just patience. We talk about this a lot with gardening. It's also the same with things that are indoors. You just have to have patience year to year, but you will get fruit on that. Don't worry, Mikey. It will be just fine.
Yep.
All right. Need something tall for a 20-foot plus area and slim to block the view of a neighbor's home. Also fast growing.
Oh, wow.
Neighbor?
I would say Taylor juniper, if it's got enough sun, would be probably the best bet.
Yeah, definitely skinny when it comes to that, and that's an evergreen plant for sure. It's one of our best sellers for that.
Well, and it's technically a native in that it is Juniperus virginiana, which is related to just eastern red cedar. So I guess you could do emerald green as well.
Yeah, a little bit slower.
A little slower.
Yeah,
won't quite make 20-foot tall, but. Taylor juniper will.
Definitely.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that'd be my.
You got to know that they're super, super skinny, so you might need more than just one because one doesn't do much, Now, if you can go with non-evergreen options, there are other options for this too, like slender silhouette sweet gum, a columnar hornbeam, English oaks that stay fairly thin. Now, they lose their leaves over the winter, but they're fantastic in the growing season. Let's think about some of those.
What are those little shimmery ones that are all really tall that you see on fence rows all around?
You're probably talking about white poplar, maybe. They shimmer in the breeze like crazy. They're not super skinny. Usually, as they age, they get older, but they can make stands. They're like invasive almost here. They got like kind of whitish bark and the backside silver.
I think you'd have a hard time finding any because
you can't find it. Yeah, I heard that Monrovia grows it, but we were like, we don't really want those. Okay. Yeah.
Well, they're one step away from a Bradford pear,
pretty much. Yeah,
no.
You said those 2 words on gardening.
Well, you
Inside.
said you were describing silver poplar, which to me is just as bad.
Pretty much.
All right, because the season is upon us. The great white plague will be here before we.
It will be here soon.
Right.
Steal yourselves.
Hey, y'all, we have another question from Joyce. Joyce says, Austin, when do you prune your boxwood? But also, don't tell me 3:30, Josh.
She's serious.
Josh had his finger up, ready to say it.
4 o'clock on boxwoods.
Hey, Joyce, great to hear from you again. Okay, honestly, right now is like a great time for boxwood because there's still left over, like some of those stems that shot in the fall, which we all deal with boxwood a little bit. And what you noticed is any of those stems that did flush in the fall and they poked up above most of the foliage, a lot of that this winter got burned. So you can really see the burn on top of boxwood. Let's go ahead and get that burn taken care of. Let's take it back to the foliage where it's nice and round and tidy like we like, and then we're going to see a nice uniform flush, okay? But it's time to do that. I mean, we always talk about it. February is the time for boxwoods. It is time to get it going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
You hear the music?
I do.
Here's something.
It can't be an hour already.
What?
Can't be. That was so
over?
fast.
All righty. Well, it does mean that we've got to get out of here for this Saturday morning. But next Saturday morning, which is the day after Valentine's Day, don't forget your sweethearts. Come out to the nursery, get a gift card. Would be great.
Yeah.
Put in the little Hallmark holiday.
Yeah,
thing.
with the flowers.
Buy a plant.
Chocolates?
Yeah, chocolates. That would work. So
Yeah, guys, all of your brides love plants for Valentine's
do.
Day. It's the greatest thing to give, right? Caroline, tell them.
Sure.
See,
Okay.
she knows.
all righty, folks. We appreciate you. We love you. Come back and see us next Saturday morning for Gardening Inside Out. We'll see you then.
Thank you for tuning into the Gardening Inside Out podcast. If you're looking for more information or more from your hosts, don't forget that we have a live Saturday morning broadcast, 8 a.m. Central Time on YouTube and Facebook. You can also follow us on our Instagram channel. That's @Gardening Inside Out for more posts, reels, and in-depth dives to topics and things we've discussed on the show. If our content resonates with you, consider giving us a follow, like, and subscription on all of our social media pages. See you next time.